Hi, Gary Brown from Tackle Tactics. Today I'm going to bring you my blackfish rig. Well, I have a couple of ways I do it. So I'm going to show you that this is what we end up with, where we have a float. Hopefully you can see it there. The float will run up and down the line. There will be a stopper up the top, right, which you can use to adjust your depth. There will be a series of split shot sinkers to suit the height of what you're going to have the float at. There will be a swivel on here so that there'll be no line twist, and this is on the little Okuma Xperia outfit, right. It's an 8'4" rod, if I'm right. I'm just going to check. Yep, it's a great little rod for chasing blackfish in the estuaries, right out of a boat or off the shore. So what I do prior to rigging up my float, right, is I rig up my outfits. Right. When I say my outfits, I rig up the part that goes from the swivel down to the hook with the split shots already on it. In this case, right, I have some 4-pound leader and I have some 6-pound leader. And this one here, it's shown on there, that I have some 6-pound. So what it means is that these are now ready to go, right, and all I have to do, right, is to unhook the hook, unswivel it, and there you have it. You have the swivel at the top, you have a series of split shot sinkers, and then you have my little blackfish hook or my Ludwig hook down the bottom. It's already pre-rigged, so all I have to then do is just get it and put it onto the rod itself. I have a series here of floats, right, they're different sizes. Right, so I have a larger one here, I have mediums, I have one that's, oops, it's a little bit narrower, usually good for fast running water. Smaller one for where it's a little bit calmer. And then we have when we have a lot of waves and a bit of wind on the top of the water and a bit of current, we can then go into either one of these, right, the medium or a larger float. So those, I have at the ready, and I have them in, because you do at times get snagged and you do lose some floats. So what I do is I have a little bucket, and that's what I carry right with. Now, I also have a little tackle box here, which has a few ball sinkers in it, some split shots, some hooks, some beads, some stoppers, and a few little extra tiny floats if I need to. Little, we'll call them little bobby corks. Sometimes you have to go down to stuff that's in that size. For my leader material, as I said before, I have 4 and 6 pound when I fish for the estuary for the Ludwig. In this case I've got here some Pulse, Platypus Pulse Mono in 4 pound, which is what I'm going to use to show you how I rig it up. There's nothing fancy about this. You use the knot that you prefer to use to tie your hook on. In this case I use a uni knot. I find the uni knot's very good. Does the job. It's easy to tie, and I've got used to doing it that much that I don't really have to look at it. To the end of that, and tie the swivel on. Just remembering with your swivels, big is not better. Small is much better. So having a small swivel for light line allows the line to be able to move around so that you don't have any tangles. What happens is that if you have a bigger swivel, the swivel won't work. And this is where a lot of people come unstuck, thinking I'll put a bigger swivel on and that'll stop me line from twisting. That's not the case. Some of the swivels that I'm using here, and like think about it, this is 4 pound line. Some of these swivels, they won't break until around 18 pound. So to that, it's just a matter of getting some split shots. Attaching to the line a split shot, crimping it off. You get a pair of pliers to squash that off. I leave around about 200 to 250 mil of line away from the hook where I put the first one. And in that case what happens is you end up with this rig that I showed you here before. In this case we've got 4 split shots on there, the sinker and the swivel. So when it comes to putting it back onto here, you can buy these at a lot of your local tackle shops. So you might find that you can get them online. So yeah, it's just a case of clipping the swivel in up to the top here, getting your rig, winding it around, coming to your hook and hooking the hook into there, and that way then these two will live in this bucket. Now when it comes to putting on the stopper, there is a little bit of trick to it, but it's not that hard. So if we imagine that this is the line that has actually gone up and through the rod guides down onto the reel. Right? And we're going to put our stopper on here. So what you do is you buy these, right, these little stoppers, and they're already pre-rigged on a bit of wire. Now the wire might be a bit hard to see on here, but the wire has a gap, right, so it's a loop. So what you do, there's another type that we have here, you might be able to see the loop a little bit better on there. And what you do is that you put your line through the loop, fold it over, and then proceed to, oops, we slipped. So we fold it over, so you have two loops, and you grab hold of the stopper and pull it down until you then have your stopper on there like that. Now you'll find that the stopper, if you were to use that stopper on the floats that I've got here, the hole that you have up in the top up here would be a little bit too big and it'd slip through. So what we do then is we get a bead, and you put the bead because it's such fine line, it could be, sometimes it could be very hard to find the hole. So there we have it. We have the bead, which now comes to the stopper. And what happens is that stopper that's on that line, right, stops the float from going up and down. So if you want it down further, you can adjust it down here. That goes up against it, the float then sits up on top. So it sits up on top of the float. So in other words, we unhook this one, right. And what it does is the bead comes down onto the top of the float, the stopper comes down onto the top of that, and there we have it, it stops. So if you want to adjust it, it's just a matter of either pulling it up or pulling it down to get to depth. So there we have it, blood rig. This is what I use, this rig here is what I use for the estuaries. If I'm going off the rocks, the only difference I have is the floats are usually bigger because it's a little bit rough, can be a little bit rougher off the rocks. But if it's nice and calm, these will do the job as well. So there you have it. Mud rig, right, for the estuaries, very easy to do.